Welcome, everyone. We are happy to have you at our WILF U.S. Congress today. Our program today is all about how to make your own peace camp. We will be featuring member Ellen Schwartz, who will give an introduction, and I'm going to take advantage of these opening minutes to share a peaceful song with you. So please bear with me a moment. Peace is a shining jewel in my hand. One more try here. Sorry. Good. One more time. Peace is a shining jewel in my hand. Peace is a shining jewel in my hand. Peace is a shining jewel. Go tell it to the people, tell them now. Peace is a shining jewel in my hand. Peace is a sign of justice in my hand. Peace is a sign of justice in my hand. Peace is a shining jewel. Go tell it to the people, tell them now. Peace is a shining jewel in my hand. Peace is reaching out and in my hand. Peace is reaching out and in my hand. Peace is a shining jewel. Go tell it to the people, tell them now. Peace is a shining jewel in my hand. Peace is many colors in my hand. Peace is many colors in my hand. Peace is a shining jewel. Go tell it to the people, tell them now. Peace is a shining jewel in my hand. Peace is left and right and in my hand. Peace is left and right and in my hand. Peace is a shining jewel. Go tell it to the people, tell them now. Peace is a shining jewel in my hand. Peace is holding children in our hands. Peace is holding children in our hands. Peace is a shining jewel. Go tell it to the people, tell them now. Peace is a shining jewel in my hand. Peace is reaching out with all our hands. Peace is reaching out with all our hands. Peace is a shining jewel. Go tell it to the people, tell them now. Peace is a shining jewel in our hands. Thank you, and Ellen, please go right ahead.
There we go. Brilliant start. Good evening, people of all persuasions. I'm Ellen Schwartz from the Sacramento Branch of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. and I'm turning up like a good nickel after yesterday. And welcome tonight to Growing Peace Camp, a story of how we started it, or really how Millee Livingston started it, and how it has been sustained over the decades. Those of you who attended yesterday's presentation on building branches from the inside and out should pay careful attention to how the Auburn, California Peace Camp came about, starting with the strengths and skills of the people who started it and gaining the support of the Wilf branch and reaching out to the groups, institutions, and other assets of the community for various elements of the camp. And just a few words now, and then we'll see the video, I hope. If we were in person, I'd tell you where the bathroom is and ask you to mute your phones. But here in Zoom, I'll just explain that to reduce the possibility of background noises, we've deprived you at this point of the ability to unmute yourself. So it doesn't matter what your phone does. Or if my dogs bark. Oh no, that does matter. So please hold your questions about the Growing Peace Camp until after the video. But if you've forgotten where the bathroom is, please send a direct message in the Zoom chat to the host of this meeting. And that's not me. That's the person who's right under your name at the top of the participant list, and it says host after their name. And send that one a chat and say, I don't know how to, I don't know what, find the bathroom. When it is time for questions of substance, please put the word question, or at least the letter Q, in capital letters at the beginning of your question about the Peace Camp project, and address the question to everyone. And if you have the whole question in caps, we'll see it even better, among other comments that may be there. And again, still, technical questions should be sent as direct messages to the host. The video you're about to see is in the form of an interview conducted by our stalwart and talented, but unfortunately ill tonight, branch member Sabreena Britt. Sabrina wandered into one of our events 11 years ago and never left. We're delighted with her. You'll be impressed with her too. And you'll also be impressed with the Peace Camp project. So settle down with your popcorn. You are in for a treat.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our video of Growing Peace Camp. My name is Sabrina Britt, and I am a member of the Sacramento Branch in Women's International League for Peace and Freedom here in Sacramento, California. Here with me, I have Millee Livingston, who is the founder of Growing Peace Camp in Auburn, California. And I have Natalie Zapata, who is currently the coordinator for Peace Camp to keep this movement going in the local community. Thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, right.
Great. And today, Millee and Natalie will be answering some of our questions that we have in Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. And if you are not a member of WILF yet, and you're participating in the Congress today, you will also learn how to get involved in WILF and how to replicate this camp in your community, whether you're a WILFer or not. And we hope you'll join us in WILF as well. But this camp started through Millee, as Millee is a WILF member. So Millee, I'd like to start by asking you, how did the idea of Peace Camp come about?
Well, thank you again, Sabrina, for doing all this. At the Wilk Western Region Congress in 1984, some of you probably weren't even born then, held in Portland, Oregon, several women attending the Congress requested that something beyond childcare to be included in the program that would introduce topics to the children regarding peace, freedom, social justice, and environmental awareness.
And here I'd like to show you a quick image of Peace Camp and its outreach. and some of the students who have participated in that. So here you can see it reaches ages 5 to 14, and the variety of activities that Millee and Natalie will talk to here as well. What were the initial steps taken to get Peace Camp started?
Well, the original steps taken were basic organizing. Organizing a committee to focus on the program, staff, fundraising, contacts with like-minded people, organizations, publicity, etc.
Excellent. And what are the goals of Peace Camp and how have they evolved over time?
Well, at the beginning, the Peace Camp mission to this day is to provide an alternative day camp experience that fosters an understanding of peace, justice, and environmental awareness appropriate to the needs of the children involved. To my knowledge, this has not changed, but I would like to ask Natalie to give us an update.
Yeah, hello, I'm Natalie. Thanks for having us. So I learned about Peace Camp in about 2011, and Leslie Jennings, who's Millie's dear friend and now my dear friend, was at an event hosting a booth about Peace Camp, and I had started my own similar camp and that ran for 5 years, Make a Difference Camp. So it was very community service based. And so needless to say, I was very intrigued. And we also, me and my husband run an organization, Auburn Hip Hop Congress. And so we worked with teens in the community. And so we asked Leslie if we could volunteer at Peace Camp in 2011. And it was a great experience. And then I think a year passed, and then Millee and Leslie reached out to me and said, would you like to continue Peace Camp? And we jumped at the opportunity because it's just so important and such a great experience. And so that's where I came into the picture, why I came into the picture. And now Millee and Leslie are just dear friends of mine. I love them. So everything is pretty much the same today. So the mission is the same. However, I'd like to add that we explore these concepts of peace and justice using the arts, using intergenerational activities. So we have people, I tell people camp is for 4 to 90-year-olds. So we'll have grandmas at art tables, community artists coming and teaching classes. So there's really something for everyone in this community that we build. Let's see. And also it's a way that we can connect with our local community because we're utilizing these artist teachers, these activists, different guest speakers. And so same mission, same goals. We're just we really expanded. Millee was talking about when Leslie took over in 2009, Growing Peace Camp, that it was Peace Camp, but they wanted to change the name to Growing Peace Camp. And it sure did grow. it grew. Our last in-person camp had 170 kids. So we stayed true to that mission of growing peace as well.
Sure. Do you have the original numbers? Like in the first couple of years of camp, how many you were reaching?
We started with about 20, and then it was 33, then it was 60, and it just kept every year. I think I've been doing it for 7 years, so it just kept getting bigger until 2020. And in 2020, obviously, we had to pivot due to the coronavirus and all of that. And so we turned our attention to hosting Peace Camp online. At that point, we only had 50 young people, but it was perfect. Like we we lucked out on timing because it was before students had that year of school on Zoom. And so they really did engage and interact. And it was actually one of our best years in ways. You know, we were really able to connect with the kids, and we felt like we accomplished a lot being able to do a camp that big and expansive online.
That's great to hear. You talked a little bit about who participates already, but can you expand on who participates and more on what the youth gain through some of the different activities that they participate in? And I guess what I'm thinking of on who participates is not just the kids, but you get other volunteers and where you're pulling them from, or for example, kind of your hierarchy of who's coordinating and leading different parts of the camp.
Okay. Yeah. So like I said before, 4 to 80 or 90, whatever you want to say. But we have college students who come and they act as junior counselors. We have artists from the community who share their gifts and they connect it with a message of peace. And so it's always very relevant, but it's a good way to express these concepts in, you know, visually and expressive ways. Different activists and speakers and community members. We really build this small, not that small sometimes, community of people. So like I said, all the ages. And the way camp runs, we essentially have now 3 programs. And so for elementary school, they come TK through 5th graders come and they experience 3 workshops a day. And this could be drumming, this could be cooking from around the world, parkour, drama, it could be making community service projects. But we bring in 3 different teachers for them to experience these different workshops that line up with our themes. So we start with, it's kind of an inside out approach. So peace within, peace with each other, peace in the community, peace in the world. And then once the kids get into junior high age, you know, they've kind of done a lot of the same workshops. They love Peace Camp. They're looking up to the older kids and they get to participate in a media arts camp. And so this is where they take these messages of peace and they use media arts. So photography, videography, interviewing skills, music, you name it, they do it, but they kind of take it to the next level. And they have a little Growing Peace Camp TV they do where they are man on the street and they are woman on the street or human on the street, and they interview people about concepts of peace and what it means to them. And we have a lot of videos on our YouTube that are courtesy our junior high media arts camp.
Hi everyone, I'm Jasmine Bailey and I'm going to be sharing with you my performance of my original song called Quarters. This song is about being okay with maybe not having a ton of money. I think it's really important that we strive for things like peace, clean earth and air, instead of all these examples of just wanting to be rich and famous. I don't personally subscribe to that narrative, and I wanted to write a song. This is a story about somebody who is in love and somebody who is totally fine maybe not having tons of possessions and tons of stuff, and they're just like fully embodying love and being fully present in their moment. So I hope you enjoy, and then at the end of the performance I'm going to be breaking down some harmonies and hopefully teaching you guys just some super simple fun harmony ideas. Enjoy!
to give all my love. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to give all my love. It doesn't take much. We are rich enough. We are holding it up. We are holding it up.
I hope you enjoyed that. So I just wanted to do a fun, quick, easy harmony. I'm gonna break it down what I was doing in the song and teach it to you, and this is a really good template to make your own harmonic ideas. Ba 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 da, ba da 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 da, ba 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 da, ba da 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 da, ba 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 da. Ba da 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 da, ba 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 da, ba da 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 da. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That was how I wrote my song Quarters. My challenge to you guys this week is to try out this method with your own song if you want to cover a topic such as social justice or the environment, whatever you're passionate about, and just try it out. If you want to record yourself and harmonize with yourself, or you want to teach it to a friend and work together, whatever you're comfortable with. Thank you guys so much for having me, and I hope you have a great, amazing week.
And for the high school kids, we've treated this like a job training program. And so instead of just having them come and volunteer and help out, we do pretty intensive trainings about how to, peacefully communicate and work with young people. And then we work on paying them stipends at the end of the camp. So, and it's kind of on a scale of, how well they rose to the occasion. But there's definitely a job training aspect to it. And the teens just love getting involved because they get to experience all of it. They still get to go to the workshops with the younger kids. And then what I think that they gain from Peace Camp is knowledge, awareness, skills. They make new friends, they have experiences, they get to try new things. And, we just hope that we're planting seeds that help them navigate the world with understanding and compassion for others. So peace, in other words. So that's what I got.
I'd like to add to that one time we had one of our peace campers who is now a young man and married and has children of his own. He came to Peace Camp to tell the children that he was a peace camper and he now has an organic farm. So he came and talked to the children about how he still remembers all those things when he was 5 or 6 years old, and he was about 30 years old then. And the other part of it too is that the children get credits too for community service for their schools and for their portfolios and so forth. So it's not just a one-time thing; it just continues.
That's wonderful. And you can see how when you've repeated it year after year, you can really measure the success of your camp and your program. So to other WILF groups and other communities that want to start a program like this, get it running and then look at the change and the benefits that you're sharing with us here that will grow in their own community. That's just fabulous. And the story is so touching to hear what he remembered as a kid going to your camp and just taking that and running with it in his life. You're bringing tears to my eyes. So sweet, so touching. How is this program funded? What other outside groups are getting involved to support what you do?
Well, in the beginning, the Peace Camp fundraising, there was a committee, from the group, not one person doing everything, but now he does everything now. And they contacted all the WILF branches, and the money many sent funds to get us started. And some of the first supporters were the Jane Addams Peace Association, which was funding their first peace camp actually, and it was like their first amount that we got from them was $500. And then we did a peace camp of 25 or 35 children for $500, which today would be $5,000. But we also had the Mothers for Peace, a group here in Sacramento that contributed, and they also came and helped. And we had also put out personal friends and family that contributed point fees. And we did have a little fee for the children to pay, which was never decided that if you could not put out the $10 or $15 or whatever it was the fee at that time, it didn't matter. Your child was still going to come to peace camp. And then there's also was some donations from local businesses. Unbelievable how we just made it a community event and people got to know what it was all about.
So today, we continue to get community donations. So we have the Arts Council of Placer County, Sugar Plum Fairies, Coalition for Auburn and Lincoln Youth, the Social Justice Group at the Sierra Foothills Universalist Unitarians. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Millie still helps a lot with fundraising, asking all of her friends and people who've donated in the past. Things have changed. $500 doesn't really cut it anymore because we like to make sure that we have enough paid, not staff, but for the week we pay people. We appreciate the artists with pay. So it's quite a bit that we fundraise, but we've never not met our goal, and it always, it works out. Even if it comes in last minute, it always works out because I think it's supposed to be. And like Millie said, it's very important to us that we don't turn away any young person because they can't pay. And so our sliding fee scale is what can you afford? And if it's zero, it's zero. If it's $5, it's $5. And that's worked. We've never gone under. People respect and pay what they can. And even during COVID, we didn't charge at all. And this year we're kind of doing a more donation based. I suggest what it costs and they pay it if they can. So
That's excellent.
The Sacramento Branch has always come forward with a donation as well.
Yes, we're happy to support growing a peace camp. Yeah, it's very beneficial to your community and our community. Definitely. I'd like to hear a little bit more about who is involved in putting it on, more kind of your roles. So like you're the coordinator, Natalie, and who, how many of a certain number of people do you have below you, kind of in your hierarchy to make things run smoothly for camp?
So my husband, Rocky, and I are mainly run camp, and depending on the size, we keep our ratios real. We have 2 people per group of 15 kids, and so we keep our ratios really low so we can give the proper attention. Oftentimes we hire special needs counselors in case somebody has a special need, which every year we do have people who have special needs, and so we hire one-on-one counselors for that. And so our team could be as big as 30 in a 170 participant camp. Right now we have a team, I would say, of about 6, which is comprised of, I told you we run the Auburn Hip Hop Congress, so some adults and teens in the Auburn Hip Hop Congress are running it. So we have about 5 adults running this year. We're doing it a little different again, pod style. So each day we won't have more than 10 young people, and they can sign up for one day, except for our high school and our junior high kids have been going every Thursday in the summer. So, and we have 10 in each of those. So we'll most likely have about 70 young people this year. And again, us 5 are running it. I kind of oversee everything and hire really cool teachers from the community. And so they're definitely a part of our team too. So we have Stan Padilla, who's a native elder artist, Maggie Steele and Betty Castillo they do storytelling and drumming, and they're just fantastic. Bridget and Doug Parvin, they come in and they can do yoga. We're making herbal lemonade this year. So our team is really our community. And Rocky, my husband, runs the media arts camp, and so he's with the junior high students. And I think hopefully that answered the question.
Yes, definitely. Yes. In terms of planning for, any kind of first aid or emergency procedures, can you talk to that at all for the camp?
So a lot of us have worked in licensed childcare facilities. I do hire a lot of people from there. And so we definitely, during our trainings for the teams, all the staff come in and we talk about procedures. Of course, we have first aid kits and procedures for any types of injuries, but we kind of, even though we're not a licensed program, we run as if we are. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great to hear, and you have all your ducks in a row. So yes.
Kids you need to.
Oh yes, definitely.
I'd like to add a little something to when Natalie was talking about the one child. As soon as the peace camp was over, he was autistic. That little guy.
I think Down syndrome.
Yeah, Down syndrome, whatever it was. And when the peace camp was over, he was already asking his mother, "When's peace camp again?
Oh.
When's peace camp happening?"
Mm-hmm.
So they do. The staff just reaches out to these children that really just need attention, and just love it. They're very well taken care of. They're just wonderful kids.
Yeah, they love it. All the kids are asking their parents and their grandparents, "When's peace camp? When's peace camp?" And so they make sure that they get signed up. In fact, here's a funny story. We did not market peace camp this year at all. I go off my list of past participants. So because we started filling up so quickly and I didn't know if we could go beyond the 170, we just kind of at this point have been inviting back past campers, and it fills up.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and it sounds like you're very accommodating. You're meeting the needs of all the different types of children that are out there, and they have different learning styles. So you really talk to all of that, which is wonderful.
These are my sisters, Ember and Rowan, and I am Dylan May, for those who don't know me. We're gonna be sharing some songs of mine. They're beautiful accomplices here. And my 2 songs are Caterpillar and Elephant in the Room. They both are about sometimes needing to go inward, especially when we're searching for peace. It's always the first place we wanna go is inward. And so sometimes that can be scary, and sometimes we just need to be alone. And so these songs are gonna positively promote that and support you in that. And I hope you enjoy them. Ready? This first one's Caterpillar. Little caterpillar, let me into your cocoon. It looks like there's enough room. in one small swirl. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh, oh. Ooh. Little caterpillar, you're shut up from everything around you. I wish I could be like that too. Little caterpillar, let me into your cocoon. And I can't wait for you to come alive. No, I can't wait for you to become a butterfly, so I can take you home and I can be alone. I'll be just like you in my little cocoon. Little caterpillar. Yay, peace camp. Woo.
Where do you host camp at?
Do you-
Well, at the beginning, we used the Unitarian Universalists, that we had the facilities there, and we had the schools, our,
Alta Vista, so we had a school. Let
we had a
us
school,
host.
and it was the whole use of the whole school, I mean, at that time.
Mhm.
And so we've had it at schools. We had it at the first camp that we had was at the public library.
Mhm.
So
The Placer Nature Center too.
Placer Nature Center. I mean, you name it, wherever we could get some participation. And most of the times, we were not charged a fee for the space. It was a volunteer space, and we always appreciated that. And I think we handed out little certificates at one time to everybody who attended and who participated, to give that a note, a little certificate of appreciation. So, it's something that really became community, and that's what we're focusing on today. And I'd like to just add a few other things of why, what sets the Peace Camp apart from other camps, because they had an ad on the TV. Oh, the camp is coming for the kids, and they were showing all this stuff. So I wrote down a little addition here that why do we are different than other camps?
Mhm.
And we have our strong convictions about promoting the use of conflict resolution, management skills. We be anti-bias advocates to empower children to resist the negative impact of racism, to promote critical thinking and activities who can work for social change. Our commitment to provide children the encouragement and opportunity to have their say and be heard, and our focus on peace and justice. So you'll get that at Peace Camp, along with the other good things of games and art and music as well.
That's excellent. Thank you. You mentioned not having a fee for the facilities. So if I can spin off of that a bit and ask, what other in-kind donations do you receive? Like for supplies, for example, maybe, or anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, so for the last 3 or 4 years, there's a young lady, I think she was early 20s, and she passed away, unfortunately, in a moped accident in Hawaii. But her passion was helping the homeless and feeding the homeless And, oh, we have videos of her just, getting together with friends and, making sandwiches and passing them out. And so her parents and a friend of mine reached out and said that they would like to support a project with Peace Camp that honors Lexi's legacy. And so we, like I said, for the last 4 years, we put together homeless bags with non-perishable food, different items that they might need that the young people can put in their trunks. And then if they're with their parents and see someone and want to help or have that compassion, then they can hand the bags out. And so that is all donated to us. We get little discounts on our t-shirts. And even though we don't need to pay for our space. Yeah. Here, let me see if I can.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Even though we don't pay for our space, again, we like to, if we raise enough money at the end, shoot them a little bit of money. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we give an appreciation of funds to the people that clean up after us, because they're the ones that they're mopping the floor, and kids, they're going to be kids. There's going to be stuff going on.
Yes,
And so they keep it nice and clean for the children and for us too. So we try and give them some kind of stipends to people that are the workers that keep the place together.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So you're giving back to the community in other ways that are hidden from the world. So, and now we see here the other ways that you give back too. That's great. Thank you. What tips might you have for other WILF branches and groups that would like to replicate this camp?
So start. Even if you have 5 young people that are interested, just start. I mean, any successful programs that we've done personally, I've started with my own kids and 3 of their friends, or, friends of mine's children. And so just start, get a small group of young people and get started. If you do it right, it will grow exponentially. and connecting to your community. I mean, it really is such a community-based program. And so, reaching out to the different nonprofit organizations, people who, we've had city supervisors come in and be interviewed. So just kind of think about how you want to talk about what peace is with young people, and then fill in the blanks. And so I start with an outline. Like I said, we have been doing inside out approach. And so if it's peace within, what things are peace within? Who can I bring in to illustrate this point? And just kind of start with the outline and the way that you see those concepts of peace, and bring people in. And I'm totally willing, if anyone wants to reach out to me, I don't know, you can put my email up on the screen or in the PowerPoint, but I'm willing to help consult someone through the process. And then, as far as funding, looking for logical sources of funding. So mental health dollars, arts dollars, different substance abuse and prevention programs. So all of those are logical sources of funding that I reach out to get the bigger amounts that we ask for. And it doesn't have to be scary, I do write grants, but they're very, very small. But sometimes I'll just write a nice letter that says, hi, here's what we're doing, and explain it. And then, we're 2,000 short of our goal. Can you help? And like I said, it always comes through. But I'm willing, if anybody wants some consultation. And each community is very different too. And so, I can tell you how it worked in our community, but again, it's through knowing your community that you'll be able to do this really well. So.
Yes, we recently got some information from one of our branch, WILF branch in Austin, Texas, that had a peace camp. So, and the Santa Cruz branch here in California picked up on it, and there were in Oregon and Portland and Seattle, and they just took what we had and adapted it to their own communities. And it's just a matter of just putting out the word. And now with the email and the computer and stuff, you can just put it out and you get 500 people want to come. So it's something that is ongoing, and I hope that Natalie will pass it on to her generation to continue when all the rest of us are not here.
My daughter has been a camp counselor since she was old enough, and then my younger daughter is volunteer age right now. So, and of course, my grandson, even though he's 2, again, we'll hire a special. No, we bring a babysitter, and he comes and kind of, because it's the family business now.
Right.
That's wonderful. Natalie, can you share your email now? And I'll also add it to a
Yes.
slide to share later.
It's nataliepoley@gmail.com, and that's NATALIEPOHLEY
That's your maiden name.
Yes, that's my maiden name.
Got it. Thank you. And I can pull that up here for you all to see right now so that you have Natalie's email. There you go. So nataliepoley@gmail.com. Is there anything else, Millie or Natalie, that you would like to share before we say farewell to our audience?
Well, the only thing that I would add is, as Natalie has said, just do it. It's a lot of work, yes, but it's well worth it because we are reaching out to the future generation, and these children now, when they're adults, will remember as our friend with his organic farm. When I walked into the farm, I didn't tell his mother, don't tell anybody I'm coming. And he looked at me and he said, Peace Camp. So that was 25 years or 30 years later. So it's something that resonates with the young people, and they remember.
Mhm.
And it's always been important, always. And even, more so today, we're in a very divided world where we need peace. We need to learn how to talk to each other and solve problems. And it's always been important. And if we can make a 200-person community that, works in harmony for a week, how can we take that into the world? And so that's our hope, is that we're planting these seeds and at least 200 people to take out into the world.
Definitely. Well, I want to thank both Millee Livingston and Natalie Zapata for their time and their efforts, all the work that you've put into Peace Camp. You can see that it's successful and it's so beneficial for their community. We hope that all of you will just do it, start one in your community. And I just want to give some more thanks to those that supported this video production as well as the camp. This film is brought to you by the Sacramento Branch of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. And you can see the activities that some of us have done over the years together as a branch here and our members. And members come and go as well, but still also participate in WILP activities, whether they're an active branch member or not. And some are active in terms of coming to meetings every month or taking on projects. And if you're one of those people who want to take on a project, here's a project for you, right? And those that are less inclined can be supporters of the project and get involved in smaller ways, because every little bit that you do helps to make a difference in making these programs function. As we heard about all the different pieces of the puzzle to make Growing a Peace Camp work when Millee started it, and continuing now with Natalie. Thank you to the musicians and the photographers that have contributed to this film. Thank you to all of the members of the Sacramento branch. And thank you to the community supporters of Peace Camp. And a special thanks to Penny Taylor and Esther Franklin of the Sacramento branch for their generosity towards this production. Again, if you have any questions for Natalie and Millie, feel free to reach out to Natalie at nataliepoley@gmail.com. You can also reach out to the Sacramento branch, and our contact information is on the WILP US website for you. Thank you so much, Millie and Natalie.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Sacramento Branch.
Thank you all for joining us, and have a great evening.
You too. Bye.
Peace.
Peace is right.
Okay. Oh, well, sorry, I cut it off before the end of the credits. Questions have been pouring in. So,
Hopefully.
I'm going to find the chat.
Shall we start with Odil's question?
Yes, Odile had a question about how many, what's the hours and the duration. She didn't really know that was her question, of course. And the duration of the camp. How many days does it run? How many hours each day? And it is a day camp, right?
Yeah, this is Natalie. Hi, thank you for having us. Generally speaking, it's been a week long, and usually it's about 8 to 1 it runs. But this year we did that same week, but we had the junior high and high school students come every Thursday because we had a lot of projects that we wanted to do with the older kids. So, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. I have a question here from Michael. The virtual events at Peace Camp, are they open to youth across the country or only in the local area? Might there be a possibility of having a virtual camp that could be attended by participants from around the country or even around the world?
Up to them.
It's a good idea. I haven't really thought about that.
Yeah, maybe you can start it.
And
that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for the idea, Mike.
Georgia asks, liking the musical examples, kids singing together with an advanced young musician, have you hired young musicians to help form small groups online? And isn't that hard to do?
We hire young musicians for the week of camp. Our actual organization works with musicians that mentor younger musicians. So we do that kind of a little bit separately. Online is 100% hard for us in particular. I know it works for some people. And our Peace Camp, it was so surprising. Like, it worked really well when we did online, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know about online, but we do programs like that during the school year.
And I have to add something too, that you have to realize that we didn't have a media like that until Natalie and Rocky came on the scene with having the music.
Yeah,
we never really had a media part of the Peace Camp and showing children how to get involved with that. So that's a new thing, because at the beginning we just had local people that picked up their guitar and came over and sang. We didn't really have anything planned, a program planned. So that's also to be realized, that it doesn't happen overnight.
Right. So here's another toughie. Randy asks, are there accessible features? Are the accessible features reasonable at live camps?
What is that?
For disabled people? Is this for people
Yeah.
with disabilities that you're talking about?
Yes, yes.
This is Leslie talking, yes. But go ahead and answer
Okay.
that. I was just trying to clarify the question.
Yes, we have, like I said, we hire special counselors to do one-on-one services if we need to. Our places are ADA accessible as well. One year we did have an upstairs situation, but we did talk to the church and said you guys need an elevator in there. But yeah, we provide accommodations for pretty much anyone. I mean, you can have special needs and disabilities, or maybe it's harder for you to sit still, or maybe some kids were more focused in on certain things, and we really kind of try to get to know the kids and make sure it's a positive and enriching experience for them individually as well, which is why we have so many staff and team members and volunteers to really make that possible, because it's a beautiful thing to be able to differentiate when needed.
And I think we also reach out to have a good diversity
Oh yeah.
of children. It's not just all white people.
Question. There's a related question on that coming up. Oh, and here it is. Beth asks, how would one find the campers for the first year? I realize it might be different in different communities. What kind of marketing do you do, or did you do, to start off?
Personally, I think when you started kind of through connecting with the churches, I think existing groups of young people, reaching out to them is a good idea. So maybe I guess it doesn't really compete with Boys and Girls Club, but if you know the different youth serving organizations or schools, way back when I used to take flyers into summer schools but I would talk to the kids in person, because you can definitely market and do flyers on the internet, and it works, and newspaper articles work, but that face-to-face, going into it, which I don't know if that's a possibility these days, but that's how we used to do it, get the kids excited in person, and so they go home and take the flyers to their parents, and we get kids who just really wanted to be there. But I'd say tap into the existing kids, and if you start with 5 kids, it's okay. We've had fabulous 5-kid camps. So yeah, just get started, I think.
And at the beginning, we touched base with the Board of Education, who at that time was, I should say in quotes, very liberal, and handed and made 500 flyers to be distributed to the schools for the teachers to hand out for children, so that we could hopefully get more diverse children involved. That was at the very beginning.
Here's not a question for the Peace Campers. Where will recorded sections of sessions be made available? This is from Judy Adams, the archivist. And the answer is someplace.
Yes, we have a YouTube. The Auburn Hip Hop Congress YouTube has a Growing Peace Camp playlist where you can see the young people interviewing community leaders about peace and what peace means to them. There's a great one with Millee maybe 5 years ago, with a young person interviewing Millee. But it's the Auburn. Do you want me to write it in the chat?
Yes, and I'm glad you understood the question.
Yeah,
It's
very smart.
Yeah.
Auburn Hip. And all you have to do is search this in YouTube, and then look for the Growing. Oh my gosh, thank you. Look for the Growing Peace Camp playlist, and I'll write that too. YouTube, and then it could say GPC playlist. Playlist. There you go.
Growing Peace Camp.
There you go.
Yeah.
We have a Facebook page too, but I'm not, you can look at years past on there, but I'm not great at keeping that up.
All right, super. Next question. I think they're not even slowing down here. Georgia asks, assuming that many kids will be coming from suburb neighborhoods, how would you work with getting them inspired to work with adventurous quests in nature?
We do that. We do that. I spoke about hiring artists and educators from the community, and so for something like that, we would reach to our more environmental agencies and have people come out. We had Eric Peach come out, and he would do nature hikes with them, and
Sierra Club.
yeah, Sierra Club, and they've donated. We also have some of our native elders who come, and they'll teach storytelling and drumming, but they also are very connected to nature. So they'll take the kids on a hike and talk about the plants and things like that.
And one time they had a program with the boat when they were decorating.
Yeah, they painted the canoe. They painted a canoe for a park, what does park stand for?
Protect American River Canyon.
Protect American River Canyons. We've partnered with them.
That's great. Here, Darian gave me a question you've already answered. So I'm going to skip to the one that I knew I missed one. What kind of facility do you have access to include 170 participants?
A very large, open and accepting church. So there's many classrooms there, a huge back play area. So we were fortunate because we kind of outgrew every other space. And in a way, we outgrew that space as well if we continued to grow. But we've actually gone back in numbers, so we can work up to that number again. And I'm okay with that.
And when we had it at the school, we had the whole school. I mean, it wasn't just a room or two.
Well, they gave us 2 classrooms, a cafeteria, and the playground. The playground was the highlight. Like they had a real playground, so that was nice. Yeah, so schools are great places. I mean, if you had a small one, you definitely, I see there's something in the comments. Libraries are a great place to start. We've started a lot of youth programs in a library. And if you have a small group, that's an excellent idea.
Well, I think this comment wasn't about having it there, although that's good too, but it's a place to market it. Yeah, put up your posters there.
We do that too. Millie makes a little display in the Auburn Library for Peace Camp. Yep. We do that too.
Okay, which is part of the answer to the earlier question about where do you find your initial set of kids, although you're going to have to find kids every year, so it continues to be a
well, they end up loving it, so that's kind of how we got so big, because everyone who comes one year wants to come the next year, and we have kids now. It's the sweetest thing ever, but some of our kindergartners are now like in high school, and they're volunteers, and they've been through the program through each different. And so now that we've been running it 7 years, we get to actually see, like yours was longer, having someone come back 25 years later, but we're starting to see that too. So the tradition, it carries on, and that's why we have so many kids, I think.
And I think there's not a problem with getting the word out, because they do that themselves.
Yep, it's true. They tell their friends who tell their friends.
Right, that sounds great. Somebody has gone to restored your ability to unmute yourselves. So, are there other questions? You can unmute yourself.
Looks like someone is raising their hand. Randy Hicks.
Randy. Okay, unmute yourself, Randy, and go ahead.
Well, so this is my question. When you had the peace camp, before it was a virtual peace camp because of the pandemic, when you physically had the peace camp, what kind of reasonable accommodations did you have for people with disabilities? And did you have people with disabilities show up at your peace camp? And did you do reasonable accommodation before they got there, or did you do it just as you went along?
Yes, we had people with disabilities, young people with disabilities. Again, we provided them one-on-one counselors. Our space accommodations were ADA accessible in the beginning because it was a school. When we did get to the church, there was an upstairs that was not, we weren't able to get up there, but we would have modified the program and brought the teen center downstairs if that had been a problem. So accommodations has always been something that we have taken into consideration. Early on in the game, it never happened, but we really tried to connect with the nonprofit, A Touch of Understanding, which really, they do presentations on just young people with disabilities and how to make your places accessible, and people just talking about what's going on with them. And they had a team leadership group. It never happened, but in the future, if the world allows us to collaborate as well as we used to, we'll definitely follow up with that. But yeah, I feel like we've always had reasonable accommodations and we've thought about it ahead of time.
Natalie, on the registration, we have a registration form. So on that registration form, is there a place that says, do you need special needs?
Oh, yeah.
So that's how you can determine whether you need help with wheelchairs or whatever.
Yeah. And usually parents will call me and say, would this be appropriate for my child? They have Down syndrome or autism or different things are going on. And I always say, let's try it, and I'll get them an individual counselor to make it work even smoother. And I would say 9 times out of 10, it's worked out. And if it doesn't work out, I mean, that's every youth program. It doesn't work for every single child, but yeah, yes, I hope that answered the question.
Excellent. So let me ask you a question. When you guys had it online, because of the pandemic, I'm sure you did closed captioning and all that stuff. Was the document that you presented, was it in Word or was it in PDF? Because the only reason I say that is because when people send out documents, not everybody can use PDF. And so Word is always best. Just want to let you know that. We learned that just in our group, Californians with Disability Rights, that Word always works best when it comes to sending out a document. And Adobe, because not everybody has the updated, they try Windex and they try Windows and they try all this stuff and Windows Plus and all this stuff, but people don't have these documents or they don't have those programs. And so Word's always best and Adobe's always best when sending a file.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you. We did print out activity packs when we went online. We had the parents and the families come grab a bag from us, which had all of the materials they would need to do the activities at home, and it had an activity book as well. So we did do that for when we were online, but that's good to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Millie and Natalie and Leslie and Sabrina and Absentia and Darian and Ellen Thomas, who is manning the
Ellen, there's a hand up. There's a hand up. Deb Livingston had her hand up.
I just wanted to thank Millie for so many years. I remember you fondly from meeting you when you came to Tucson for Miriam Barsk's memorial. And it's just lovely to see you and to see the Peace Camp going strong. I'm just so thankful.
Good to see you too, Deb. Take care.
You too.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Glad you made it. Good to see you again.
Yes. Take care.
And maybe next summer it'll be in live again, right? Who knows?
Oh, I sure hope so.
Really hope.
Yes.
This is really getting boring.
In person, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Okay, I think we're signing off.
We're
So
done.
thank you so much.